evening and welcome. This is Whole and Beautiful. I am Angela Oliphant, your host, and I am so glad that you all have joined me for another night of information, revelation, and change. Yes, it is another Friday night and it is 7 p.m., and I am ready to share with you just some thoughts that I had this past week. But before we get into all of that, I just wanted to remind you that you can send me an email at wholebeautiful@gmail.com if you have information that you want, things you want to learn about, things you want me to research, things you want me to share. You can send me that email, wholebeautiful@gmail.com. Send me an email about the show. If you are enjoying the show and you it has touched you in some type of way, I want to know about that also, so you can send me an email for that. If you know of a guest that you say, hey, I would love it if you could talk to this person, because I believe that their story, their journey, it will be able to touch somebody else's life. So I want you to be able to send those emails to me at wholebeautiful@gmail.com. I'm still doing couples conversations. I am still trying to continue with my mentoring moments segment that I do. Couples conversations has been doing really good though. Whenever I bring the couples on, a lot of people want to hear about the couple. So if you know of a couple that you would say, hey, they need to be on Whole and Beautiful, then let me know and we will get them on. I do have some other things that I'm planning and that I'm setting to the side right now, but I'm looking at, and we're going to bring some other people on for you to hear about their story, about their journey, about their relationships and how they make it work. One thing I am learning though is that everybody has their own like rhythm. They have their own thing that they do within the confines of their marriage or their friendship that's helping them work together and move together and be who they are. We don't try to pattern ourselves after other people. What we try to do is you try to pull like from those different conversations that you hear, you find something that maybe will work for you. Not everything will. Not everything that somebody else does in their friendship or their relationship is going to like benefit your friendship or your relationship, but some things that they talk about will. So I want to be that person that can bring you that information. So if you know of a couple that you said, their their story is unique. You have some people who come together and it's like, yay, they met each other, they're together forever and it's awesome. You have other people who have met each other and couldn't stand one another when they first met each other. They didn't want to be around each other. It ended up together and being the best partners for each other. So it's just a matter of how things unfold and how everything works out. So if you know of a couple that would be excited to be on, or somebody maybe even reluctant about being on, we still can talk to them and go ahead and get them on here, because I want to know about them. I want to know their story. Tonight, guys, it's another just beautiful night. It's another phenomenal night. And the things that I wanted to share with you on tonight was just things that were on my heart, because I've been talking to some different people throughout the course of the week. And last week I wasn't with you guys live because I wasn't feeling well. And I thank God that I'm feeling a lot better. I feel 100 times better than I did last week this time. But and I'm grateful for it. But we I've been talking just to a lot of people, different people, not like a lot as in, this big group and I'm out there talking, but just different people in passing and different people on the phone. And you hear the frustration in people's voices. You hear when they're talking about different things. It's like they're so frustrated about so many different topics, different things that are going on. And all these things are going on in the earth right now. All these things are going on with life right now. And I started to think today, I was like, what is different now than back then, because when I started thinking about back then, I started thinking about my mom because her birthday is tomorrow. And I was thinking about the year that she was born, which was 1951. And then I think about the year that I was born, which was 1970. And I'm thinking about all these different, and then when my kids, were born in the years that they were born, I was like, things have changed over time. And some things are great, yet while some things are not so great. Because I think with everything changing as far as like technology and all these things that are convenient to us now that back in the day was not so convenient, um, with those things being convenient, with all these other things, it's like people, hi Lynn, thank you for joining. It's like people have, it's like their mindsets have changed. Their, and not even like just the mindset, it's the heart. Oh, thank you. I will let her know. She will be so excited. I will see her on tomorrow to wish her a happy birthday and spend some time with my mom. But hi Victoria, thank you for joining. But it's like our minds have changed and our heart really have changed. A lot of people's hearts have changed, and people are not like bringing up their children the way that they used to, which I'm not saying that all of that is bad, but then I'm not saying all of it's good either, because now you are at a point sometimes where the parents are not even raising the children. They're not instilling into them any type of values. You have some that are pouring into their children and instilling the values into them and talking to them. And what I'm learning though is that this just didn't start like now. This started back then. This started like way back. People were doing the same thing like in the 50s. People were doing the same things like back in the 20s and so on and so forth. They were doing it then, not just now. I think we see it a lot more now because we have access to so much. So you're able to kind of see into other people's lives and see what's going on because we have all this technology, and you can tune in and watch somebody's life or see what they're doing with their children. But back in the day, you didn't have all that technology. So a lot of things that were going on, you didn't know about. You didn't know about because people said whatever goes in this house goes on in this house stays in this house, and they meant it. And nobody said anything outside of the house, but they had things that were going on then. But the heart of the people, it's like we're being pulled so much apart. You have to make the effort to come together, if that makes sense to y'all. It's like you're being so just pulled away from each other that now you have to make the effort to spend that time with each other. Um, I remember with my grandmother. My grandmother was home all day. She wasn't outside of the house working. She stayed home and she worked at the house and she did everything at the house. And she would go out and work in her flower garden and she would keep all of these kids. She kept her grands and she kept the neighbors' kids. Sometimes my grandmother in that little 2-bedroom house that she had, sometimes it would be like 14, 15 kids there at one given time because she just brought everybody in. She would make sure everybody got something to eat. She would make sure that everybody got a bath. We had one bathroom that was at her house. So you had to, she had to get us in, get us out. People had to take baths, all that. She did all of that in that house, but it was her heart and it was her mindset that made the difference, because it was her heart that wanted to do for these children, because she would watch and see like children that was overseas that were sick or that they were going to feed the children in Africa or different places. And she would just sit and literally just cry and say, why don't they just let me, go over there? I can feed all of them. They could just send them to me. I wish it was a way that they could send them to me, and I would make sure those babies ate. I would make sure that they had something to eat, and I would take care of them. And that was her heart. And she did that with her grandchildren. She did that with children in the neighborhood. And we all came together and we were able to eat. We were able to play games and have fun. And some of our the memories that we have now, all of us talk about our grandmother and what she did and how she brought us all together and how all the things that we used to do at her house and had so much fun doing it. And my granddad, and just enjoying them and being there with them. But it was because of her mindset. It was because of her heart that she did this. And what we're seeing, I think, and this is my opinion, I didn't go out and do no research. I don't have no facts backing me up. But what I'm seeing is that a lot of what we see in these children that are growing up, a lot of times, is what things are in their heart, things that people are instilling in them, are putting in them, and they may not even realize. They may not be sitting down and teaching them the wrong way to do things, but kids watch what you do, and they watch how you handle conflict. They watch how you handle different things that come at you, the stress that's on you. They watch how you speak to other people. The values back then aren't the same. They are not the same as today. And people's mindsets have changed. But kids, they watch you. They watch everything that you do. And we have to be mindful of that they're paying attention to what we do. We may say one thing out of our mouth and tell them they're not supposed to do this, this, and this, but then you turn around and do the same thing that you told them not to do. And they are watching what you do, and they are more so listening and having that embedded into them, what you're doing, not so much as what you're saying. They are paying a lot of attention to your actions, and we have to be so careful that we are pouring into our children what we want to see come up out of them, that we're pouring, that the seeds that we're planting in them, when those seeds begin to grow up, that they be beautiful, flowers, and not a bunch of weeds that you want to just hack down and burn. But we have to pay attention so much. We have to realize what we're planting in ourselves and how we're looking at ourselves, because how we treat ourselves, a lot of times we'll treat other people the same way. And we don't even realize it, that if we're treating ourselves badly, then we will go and treat other people the same way. If we perceive something like wrong with us, sometimes you throw your perception off on somebody else, and you're perceiving something about them that is not true. But because you're perceiving it to be true about you, and this is the way that you feel, then you feel like other people feel the same way. And it can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. Because I have watched even how my children, they was like, well, I don't think like that. And they shouldn't do this and da 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 da. But I'm like, hon, listen to what you're saying. You may not treat somebody like that. And you're expecting everybody else to act like you do. It's not going to happen. They have their own way of thinking. And I think that we have pulled so much away from each other. And to the point, it's like we're going to have to make the effort to say hi. We're going to have to make the effort to speak to somebody. You're going to have to make the effort to even go back to church. Because now, at this point in time, because of the pandemic, because we were separated, because people got so used to staying at home, and because we have the technology that we have, then people got so comfortable, they chilling out at home. Oh, I can sit and watch church, in my pajamas with my cup of coffee. I don't have to go into a building. Who wants to go into the building? So they stay home, and they say in their head, oh, it's because of COVID. It's because of the pandemic. I'm just not ready. I'm just not ready to go back out. No. I posted something like just a few days ago on my page that said the more you miss church, the less you miss church. And that is a true statement. The more you miss it, the less you miss it. And you get to the point where you get laid back. You say, I don't have to go. It's so much easier for you to stay home and use your little finger and punch a button, hit that remote, turn on YouTube, hit your phone, pull it up, you're on Facebook, get on your computer, touch a button, and you right there, and you're like, okay, this is what I'm hearing the word, I'm listening to the word. But I think that we forget how powerful it is to be in a place together with other people, how powerful it is for somebody to give you a hug, which is just human touch, or somebody just to touch your hand, or somebody just say, touch your shoulder and say, hey, how you doing today? To have that face-to-face contact with somebody and to be able to give those hugs and to receive those hugs, it changes you. It releases stress from you. Go look at it, Google it. Human touch is powerful. And where we're not together, and where we're not like in a place together and really just worshiping together, when you worship with somebody else, the whole atmosphere changes. Yes, you can worship alone. Yes, you can worship and have the best worship services that you can in your home, in your car, just you and the Lord, and y'all having a good time. But why not bring that overflow into the building? Into the building. I was speaking to somebody not too long ago, and we were talking about that, and just seeing people who really love the Lord and their hearts are so pure, and their focus is people. It's like, how can I touch this person's heart? How, and they're just sharing out the pureness of their own heart towards somebody else, and they're just drawing people. Why? Because God loves people. There was a song out, and I told y'all this a while ago, but there was a song out a while ago that said, God loves people more than anything. More than anything, he wants you to know he'd rather die than let you go, because God loves people more than anything. He loved us so much that he died for us. There you go. And we try to stay away from people. Oh, I don't want to be around nobody. I don't want to talk to that person. I don't want to be around her. I don't want to be around him. Oh, I'm not going to do this. And I'm like, why? Why are we running from people? It's like, start running towards people. Be the answer that somebody else needs. Somebody else needs you, and you are their answer. And you're running. You're running away, but they need you. They need you. And you're saying, oh, they don't need me. I can be here, by myself. I can do what I need to do, whatever. No, they need you. They need you. You are the one to reach them. You are the one they need a hug from. You are the one that they need to see that smile from. You are the one that can speak a word that would literally change that person's life forever. But because you won't go out, because you stay at home, because you don't want to be apart, you want to just pull off to yourself and be by yourself, you could be holding up somebody else's blessing, all because you don't want to be around people. We have to just come out of that. The pandemic was horrible. A lot of people lost their lives. But I see a lot of people who are using that same thing. They're using it as an excuse to stay inside, to stay home. But they're only using it as an excuse to stay home when they want to stay home. Now, when they want to go somewhere, they can glove up, mask up, do whatever they're going to do, and they go out and do what they're going to do. Or they can go to, this concert, or they can go on that particular trip or whatever. But you say, you know what? Well, you're not going to be back at church. Girl, I can't come back to church. It's the pandemic still going on. COVID's still out there. But didn't I just see you at a concert? Didn't I just see you out with people? Y'all were outside, but you were at the jazz concert, and you were surrounded by people, a lot of them. So we just need to get back to just loving on people. Our mindsets have got to change. It's like, God, let me have your mind. Let me have your heart. Let me do what I need to do in order to reach somebody else. And let me be the person that will pour into that person, that will cause them to see and to know how much you love them. Because sometimes people just don't know. Hi, Diane. Sometimes people just don't know how much they are loved. You said you want to know how many people are going through things? Look around you every single day. Every person you see has something that's going on in their lives. It may not be a big thing for you, but it may be a big thing for them. It's just different things. We're at different ages, different stages, different things are happening in different people's lives. And we need to realize that we need to begin to love on people, and we need to begin to give a handshake. People don't even shake people's hand no more. They be like, "Ooh, they thinking germs." You know, if you got to get our hand sanitizer and clean your hand afterwards, then do it. But the human touch can change somebody's life. How do you know that, Angela? Even in the Bible, it tells us that. It talks about it where Jesus touched the leper and healed him. There's a many instances where he healed different lepers throughout the course of the Bible, but this particular leper, he touched him, because the leper said, "If I wish that I could be whole, I could be clean, I could be healed." And he said, "If you would, he was asking Jesus to heal him, and Jesus said, "I will." He reached out and he touched them, and I said this. I said, "God, you know what? Jesus didn't have to touch that man. He could have spoke it, and the man would have been healed. He could have said, be healed." And like that, man could have been healed, walked on by his business, and skin all back like it's supposed to be and everything. But he touched him, and I was like, "God, why did you touch him?" Because if you were a leper, you were ostracized. You was put off from everybody else. Nobody was allowed to touch you. Nobody was allowed to be around you. Nobody was allowed to even be in your presence. But he touched him. And why did he touch him? Because he needed the touch. He needed the touch. That's why he touched him. That's why he did what he did. And sometimes we have to realize that even in the situations and circumstances that we may be in, and we're saying, "Oh, I don't want to be around this person," or "Oh, I don't want to be around her or him." Have you ever thought about the fact that that person may need your touch? That person just may need a hug. That person may need you to be around them. They may need to hear your voice. They may need to just be in your presence. Even if you just give them, just hold their hand. If you just hold their hand. I have a grandchild who loves to be up under you. She just loves to sit next to you and close to you, and she wants to hug on you, and she wants to give you kisses and all this, and everybody be like, "Oh my goodness." But yes, that is what she loves to do. But who's going to take that away? If you keep pushing them away and be like, "Don't do that. Don't touch them like that. Don't do that. Oh, stop it. Oh, quit." And they're wondering what's wrong, because they like the touch, the human touch. It does something for people. It changes them. Yeah, Josie. It's like it changes them. It releases, even if you study it, it releases in your brain. It will help you to release stress. It will help you just to breathe. Have you ever just like taken a hold of your child, not in a bad way, but just hugged your child? And not that little, ooh, and then just let them go. Have you ever tried to stay there for like a minute, maybe 2 minutes, and just hold on to them? Do you realize how much that would break in somebody's life if you just held on to them? If you just hugged them for a minute? I ain't talking about, oh, like the little slang we use, oh, that's been a minute. No. For a solid minute, for a solid 60 seconds, just sat and hugged somebody else just to let them know that you were there. Have you tried holding your child's hand, like when you're walking in a store? And I know they don't want you to hold their hands and all this other stuff, but have you tried holding someone's hand? Like even when I was volunteering at a nursing home, sometimes I didn't know what to say to some of the people that I was visiting, and their family wasn't coming to see them, and I got the people who families just kind of dropped them off there and left them there, and they didn't come back to see them. They would call, but they were never in there to see them. And those are the people that I would visit, and they would be so happy just to see somebody. They would be so happy just to sit with you, and you sit with them and you hold their hand, or you played a game with them. This one lady, she loved to have her nails done, so I would come in and do her nails for her, and we would sit and we would talk, and she would hold my hand. Why? She needed the touch. Sometimes we don't even think about it, but we need the human touch. We need somebody that's there. Have you ever sat down? Those of you who have spouses, have you sat with them for like, have you tried to give them a hug for like 60 seconds? Or tried to give them a hug and just hold on to them for like 2 minutes? We just gonna hug each other for like these 2 minutes and just be still and just be quiet. You don't have to say a whole lot. You would be amazed how that would change things with your friends, with your spouses, with your children, if you just spent time, if you just would give them that human touch, that hug, just like Jesus did with the leper. He didn't have to. He could have spoke to him and things could have changed in his life, but he did not. He spoke, but he touched because he needed the touch. How many of us need that touch today? How many of us need somebody to just hold your hand? I mean, people in the hospital, who are people who do come out to the services and come out to church and stuff, people where you go to volunteer and just to share with them. They're so excited to see people. They want to touch your hand. They want to sit with you. They want that human connection. And we need to get back to that. We need to get back to just loving people, just pouring into people. We're thinking about all these different things. Even churches are trying to think of all these different things of what can we do to get more people in, and what can we do, to like accommodate the people that are coming. And my heart is this. I heard Miss Andrea, Dr. Hines, ALH Broadcasting, say this on yesterday. She said that if you just set the table, and they'll come. And it's like, just have the atmosphere where Christ is the center of it all, where it's not a performance or a show that we're putting on. I'm not doing this to try to quote unquote get you in here. I'm coming in to worship God. I'm coming in and out of the pureness of my heart, of just wanting to do what he wants me to do and just worshiping him, that you would be drawn in because he's in the building. Because when Jesus show up, people will show up. When Jesus shows up, people will show up. The Bible tells us that he will add to the church. And he will. And it also says, except the Lord build the house, they that labor build it in vain. God's got to build it. Everybody can't be cookie cutter church. Everybody can't do everything the same way. And we can't be saying, oh, we got to do this. We got to have this over here and that over here because we got to accommodate this generation and we got to accommodate these people over here. My heart is this. And if you have a disagreement, you can let me know. Whole beautiful at gmail.com. I believe this. I believe that as we are worshiping God from a pure heart and a pure place, and that we're really worshiping Him and we're spending time in His presence, that God will begin to speak and people's lives will begin to be changed, all because we are putting Him at the center. We're not trying to like conjure up something or try to get something going so we can have you and you and you, because whatever I do to get you in or to do whatever, I'm going to have to keep that up. Because if I don't keep that up, if you just came in because of this like material thing or this tangible thing over here, and then I switch it up a few years later, you may be like, I'm out. But you know what? If we make Jesus the center, which He should always be anyway, and we are worshiping Him, which is something we will always do, and we are glorifying and magnifying Him, if He be lifted up, what is He going to do? Draw all men. He's going to draw them. Our focus has to be Him. And I think that as our focus is Him, everything else around us will begin to change. Everything else around us will begin to just change. Why? Because our focus is Jesus. Our focus is to hear His voice and to hear what He tells us to do and to do the things that He tells us to do. Whatever He says. If you all didn't see When Life Speaks on yesterday at 7, it's going to do a replay tomorrow at 12. You need to go and you need to listen to When Life Speaks. It's going to be right here on Facebook, ALA Broadcasting, or you can catch it on YouTube too. But When Life Speaks, because of the couple that Miss Andrea interviewed on yesterday, you need to hear their story. You need to hear what they were talking about. And their hearts are so pure. And their heart is to do the work of the Lord. It was a woman that I read about. Her name is Ruth Heflin. And she said that the Lord said in the word, ask me and I will give the nations as your inheritance. So she asked and He did. And she went around the country ministering and loving on people who knew who God was, people who didn't even know who God was. And God began to change the lives of people, and they began to give their hearts to the Lord. She went to all these different countries all over the world. She went all across the world and ministered because she took that one scripture and said, God, that's what you said. That's what I want. I want the nations. And He opened up doors for her. And she went to the nations. This couple that you can hear about and go listen to their testimony, they walked across America. They ministered to people. They talked to people. They were in the right places at the right time and saw God literally change people's lives forever. So much so, it's like you sit and you listen to their testimony and it just ministers to your heart. There's so many people that have ministered to my heart. And it wasn't that they're out here where everybody knows who they are, or you can say, oh, I know that person. I have a friend, awesome woman of God, amazing. And she ministers wherever she goes, wherever she is. And for years, she was ministering in a homeless shelter, pouring into these people. It was certain guidelines in the homeless shelter where you couldn't, you couldn't do no altar call and you couldn't do this, that, and the other. And she was like, God, how do I minister effectively to these people with these guidelines that I must follow? And He gave it to her in a way where she ministered to those people and their lives were changed. The lives of those people were changed. She runs into them every now and then. Some of the people that was in her classes, she no longer does that now, but some of the people that were in her classes, sometimes she'll run into them, um, like out and about. She went to a restaurant and she got was getting her food, and they came and told her your food is paid for, and she was like, how's my food paid for? They said the chef paid for everything. The chef said this is on the house, and she was like, who is the chef? Do I know the chef? It was one of the people that was in her class. And they was like, because of you I have this job, because of you my life was changed. Don't underestimate the power of humans talking to other humans and sharing the love of God. Sharing the love of God with somebody else. Sharing love, giving a hug, giving a smile, loving on somebody else. That's where you begin to grow. That's where you begin to mature. That's where your life begins to change. It's not when you just me, myself, and I ain't thinking about you. It's me, me and my four and no more. Me and my three letters B, whatever. No. It's when you begin to reach out to other people. It's when you begin to pour into other people. It's when you begin to love on other people. And I told y'all a few weeks ago, don't just walk past people and not say anything. They may not say anything back to you, but say hello. Say hi. How you doing? If they don't say nothing back, it's okay. You can keep walking, you know. But you can speak. I'm not trying to sit and carry on a 2-hour conversation with you. I'm just being nice and being cordial and just speaking to you. Why? Because you matter. You matter. Why would I walk past you and turn my head the other way like I don't see you? Why would I be that horrible and that mean to somebody? Why would I do that even with my own children? I don't even know how they're doing because I haven't sat down to sit and say, how was your day? How are you doing? Are you okay? Did something bad happen at school today? What were the good things that happened to you today at school? What are the things that you're struggling with at school? What can mommy help you with? What can daddy help you with? What can grandpa and grandma help you with? In my case, what can Yaya help you with? We want to be able to talk to them and love on them. And if you have the opportunity where you're working in a profession where you are around people the majority of the day, pay attention. Just don't let it get to be mundane to you where this is my job, this is what I do, and you never take the time to say, how are you? And then they say, oh, I'm fine, I'm good. No, really, how are you for real? I really want to know. Somebody asked me that question like a few weeks ago. They said, how are you doing? I said, oh, I'm good. I'm doing well. And she looked at me and she said, thank you for that nice church answer. But how are you for real? And I bust out laughing because a lot of times we don't even want to go there with people. We don't want to talk about all the things that are going on, but some people really want to hear. And some of the people that want to hear are people who want to help you. Do I have to kind of discern and know who I'm around? Yes, I do. But just giving somebody a hug, just giving somebody a fist bump, just giving somebody a high five, giving somebody a smile, taking that time to hug your child and just sit with them and read them a short story or something will change their lives. So let's do that this weekend. Find somebody, whether it be, somebody at church or somebody that you work with or somebody right there in your own household. Give them a hug, a real hug. Give them a smile, a real smile. Say something kind to them and build them up this weekend. It may be you, like you may be be saying, you know what, ain't nobody here with me. Well, talk to yourself. Stand in the mirror. Look at yourself and say something nice about you to you. And build yourself up so that when you go out your front door or you go out into your neighborhood, to the grocery store or to a department store, or you're out exercising, walking, spending some time out, that you can say hi to somebody else and genuinely mean it. It's not like, oh, I gotta say hello to this person. No, it's like, hi, how you doing? And you really want to know how you doing. Is everything okay? I don't have to stand here and talk to you like for hours. I just want to make sure you're okay. Find somebody to check on this weekend. Make sure that they're doing okay. And if you can get in there to give a hug or some human touch where you can just touch their hand or their shoulder or give them a pat on the back or whatever the case may be, know that they may need that touch. And you may be that person that can give that to them this weekend. So enjoy your weekend. Talk to a family member that you haven't talked to in a while. Talk to a coworker that you never even spoke to before. Speak to them, talk to them, say hi, speak to somebody when you're out there walking and exercising this weekend. Just say hello or just get on the phone and just say, I just called to say I love you or I miss you. And we're looking forward to seeing you this weekend at church. Guys, enjoy your weekend. This is all that I have for you. I hope that you gathered something out of it. If it's not anything else but just to give a hug, human touch is powerful. So make sure that you're doing your best to produce the kind of harvest that you want to see. Because what you sow, you're going to reap. So let's make sure that we're sowing great and precious and beautiful seed, right? I am Angela D. Oliphant, allowing you to see, hear, and know that whole and beautiful is not just your destination, it's most definitely your journey. So join me again tomorrow at 4. If you missed any part of this, you can join me tomorrow at 4. It'll be a replay of this show right here. Share it with somebody, like, share, comment. Let me know what you thought about tonight's show. I surely would like to know. But until we get meet again next week, Friday at 7 p.m., it is me, Angela D. Oliphant, saying good night to y'all, and I love you much. Have a great and powerful and productive weekend. Good night.